Today is Saturday, March 4th, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for week 1 of Survivor 44.
Week 1 listener feedback show. Let's go. How many super fans?
22.
22. Some people are excited to talk about this first 2-hour episode, and I'm all in. So I enjoyed putting this together. I don't remember everything everyone said because I'm sure there's over an hour's worth of content here.
Yeah.
But there's some of it I haven't seen because you handle all the written parts. So I'm anxious to get in. Do we get started? Do we have anything we need to cover first or announce?
No, nothing we can't cover along the way. So
okay,
let's get to it.
First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Wow, what a phenomenal season 44 premiere. So I'm going to let out a great big wow, I did not expect so much craziness in this premiere. I wish every episode was an hour and a half or 2 hours, and I'm already loving this cast better than the previous 3 seasons combined. 43, wow. I liked a little bit of the cast, but I like this cast better than the last season and the previous 2. So let me get into it, guys. First, Bruce. So sad. The oldest player of the season gets hurt right off the bat in the opening challenge. Then he's able to come back, but his injuries there were just too much to bear, and the right decision was made. They had to get him evacuated and get him taken care of, and so glad he's all right. I did read in an interview from Probst in Parade, I think it was, that they're going to have Bruce coming back in a future season, but who knows when. But the biggest shocker, though, how about Brandyn, though? Oh, man, now we all knew he'd be a physical threat, but one of the strongest this season. But, man, he gets dehydrated during the challenge. We're worried about him surviving. You know, he cramped up. And who would have thought? Now everyone, his whole tribe knew about the idol, but he played the idol. For once, someone played the idol the right way. He saved himself, and he got rid of a huge threat in Maddie. Wow. I think Maddie completely got outplayed there by Brandyn, and I didn't see that coming at all. And to boot, 2 shot in the docks. 2 shot in the docks, I repeat, were played right off the bat. And finally, one was used correctly. And of all people, it was Jamie. And we didn't see too much of Jamie other than her considering playing the shot in the dock. Wow. I was shocked, but good for her. Finally, something is right. Now, the other teams, guys. How about this showmance now, which is going to be tough. Matt and Franny. That doesn't bode well, I think, for either of them. That team loses. I think those other guys are going to get rid of one of the 2. I could see Danny, Claire, Heidi all coming together to get rid of one of those guys for sure. And then the purple team, Jam. Love Jam. I love his spirit, his enthusiasm. Again, I'm not convinced that he could win the season, but I think he's going to be a big character. He's going to be so entertaining to watch for sure. And how about Carolyn? You know, she reminds me of Kat from Survivor One World, or Debbie from Cole Wrong, as a crazy woman, not a strategist. She would be someone to bring to the end as a GOAT. But I like Sarah and Helen, and Carson, and surprised me as well. This was an awesome premiere, guys. I really loved it. A lot of camp life, a lot of strategy, and a great immunity challenge. See you later, Maddie. And I liked Maddie. She offered a lot. But oh well, that's Survivor. And again, Bruce, a shame for Bruce, but I'm glad he's doing well, though, and getting the proper care. What a great episode. Can't wait for next week. Woo!
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Yeah, I like that. That's a combination of Kat and Debbie. Not either by themselves, but the combo of the two. So Carolyn is the Kat Debbie love child. I can see that.
Okay. She's just Carolyn.
There's that, I guess. You could look at it that way.
Comparing her to previous people, then yes, I see that. But, she's being her authentic self.
True dat. Okay, up next.
True dat.
Up next,
Okay.
we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. Well, there's a lot to unpack with the season premiere, and I guess I would say my feelings on it were a little bit mixed. I think you had it right, Stacy, when you referred to this premiere as being chaos, and I think the only word that I could better describe it as would be one of Carolyn's dinosaur noises that she made. I found this episode confusing, chaotic, and at times a little bit annoying. I didn't really care for that intro with Carolyn in production. I'd rather see any sort of involvement in production on the show kept as sort of behind the scenes, like just focus on filming the castaways and filming Jeff as well. And while I'm clearing out the air on complaints that I have, let's stop calling hidden immunity idols hidden, because they're not. Almost everyone knows where they are, and this whole go take a trip and make a decision, it was interesting the first time, but now everybody knows you're going to go to this island, you're going to either lose your vote or you're going to get an advantage, and if you lie about it, people are going to find out, and if you have an advantage, or if you're not, you might be targeted just for going. So regardless of how interesting the advantages might be, it just makes them feel kind of useless. As far as the cast, my feelings on that are a bit mixed as well. I feel like they seem to overcast people this season who are anxious, almost bordering on neurotic, and lacking confidence. I get being nervous, but I've never seen the word terrified overused so much. We're at season 44, and I feel like we should be expecting better players and people who make better decisions. Like, there's a few moments in this premiere where I found myself questioning, really? Like playing shot in the dark or climbing mountains that are dangerous, and people referring to others as kingpins and running the show when there hasn't even been a single vote yet. So it just seemed like a little bit of hyperbole and just some amateur sort of gameplay. Against my instincts, I ended up going with Brandyn as my USB. I just liked his attitude pre-game, and he seemed like someone that was physical. And he didn't have a great episode, but I was happy to see him play his idol correctly. That's not something that happens that often. So hopefully he can dust himself off and reform an alliance now that Maddie's gone. My wife had Bruce as her USB, so I guess things could be worse. I guess Jeff's gonna invite Bruce back to play. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think I would have been okay not seeing him again, but anyway. Overall, I thought it was an okay premiere. I do think we're in for an entertaining season. Any of us fans that have been in it for the long haul know that the enjoyment of the show is what you make of it, and having this podcast available always adds to that enjoyment. Here are my quick thoughts for our next week. I could see Helen, Carson, and Sarah forming a really tight alliance, and I think that I'm going to keep Carolyn as my vote out until she's gone in the game, or I'll never get a vote off point. So that's my strategy going forward. Anyway, that's it for me. You guys just take care.
All right. Thanks, Robert. There was, in Maddie's interview, I think it stood out to me most in the parade interview. I'll have links in the show notes for it. It was just really evident that, how hard she was overplaying, and when Robert was talking about the kingpin references and all that, and when we rewatched it, that certainly was kind of glaring. I didn't really pick up on it as much the first time when you got Maddie calling Brandyn the Godfather, and they've only been there days, right?
Exactly. That was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. She definitely, like Robert was saying, she was playing way too hard.
And Jamie was just off the charts, I thought, with her. Though I don't know if her name was thrown around. There's things we don't know. So she could have been in a panic because she heard her name. Or
I didn't pick up on anything in Maddie's interviews that would explain why Jamie chose the path that she chose. I think we can all understand why Matthew might do it,
certainly,
given how hurt he was.
hurt and that he had, in his own words, acted so stupidly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think someone else has got a theory for why he did what he did, so we'll get to that here shortly.
Alrighty.
Next up, we got a call from Brandyn.
Hey there, Joanne and Stacy. This is Brandyn from Indiana, here to give my feedback on Season 44, Episode 1 of Survivor. Man, Survivor has changed over the years. Pretty obviously, having seen seasons basically 1 through 30 over the last 6 months or so, I was very surprised when suddenly I was hearing people talk about shots in the dark, beware advantages, and game-sponsored fake idols. It's kind of crazy to me, you know, and then we've also got just the shortened time period. So now it's 26 days, 37 advantages, 18 people, and 1 Will the medic. I never thought I would know the medic's name. 3 trips, 3 medic situations in 1 episode. Has this happened before? Is this a normal occurrence on the current modern day Survivor? I was so shocked by seeing the medic so often during this episode. You know, you got to be sad to see Bruce go like that. Obviously, his tribe liked him. Obviously, Jeff Probst was like in love with the guy. At one point, as he was like getting ready to go, he was just, Bruce, you're my shining light in my world of darkness, my guiding star, my one and only, and you have to go. And it was pretty sad, but whatever. It is what it is. As far as my predictions go, those were completely out the window very quickly. Obviously, I have my USB and Matthew the barber. I had failed to realize that that was the man falling from the rocks during all of the previews. I thought that was Kane for some reason. Anyways, I was pretty depressed when I saw him get injured. I thought this is a bad sign. This is not going to go well for him. But he did team up with Brandyn early on, which was part of my prediction. And I just thought, you know, he's wearing a sling. Another person that I really enjoyed watching win a season, Tyson in Blood versus Water, was in a sling with a shoulder injury early on. So maybe it's a good sign. Maybe it's a good thing. But man, that tribal council, I never expected to see a person go out in the first episode by a singular vote. How is there going to be any trust in this tribe going forward? I don't understand how 3 different people just, I don't need to vote. I'll just let Brandyn choose who goes home. I don't care. He's got an idol. I'm just gonna bank this, or I'm just gonna take this shot in the dark. It just seems like lunacy to me. And I don't know. I don't know how Kane and the rest of the tribe are going to come together in any way after this. I could see Matthew kind of twisting this to Brandyn specifically if he didn't want to cast a vote for him, maybe saying that. But as far as the rest of it, I'm very shocked and very curious to see how it is going forward. That's pretty much the main thing I'm looking forward to in this next episode, is seeing how this group is able to overcome that ridiculous tribal council. I'm very excited for the rest of the season, JSFL, all of that, and excited to hear the rest of everyone's thoughts. So long.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandyn. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Rids in Winnipeg. Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. I'm very excited for the new season, and I like what I've seen of the castaways so far. Starting the show with that strange confessional was indeed a bit odd, but I did get a chuckle when the director said, "It's the easiest one." Maybe that's all they were after. I suppose in the interview with Probst that'll be linked in the show notes, he ends up talking about that, and this was the brainchild of an editor named Dave Armstrong. And then Probst wraps up his response to the question by saying sometimes these things work and sometimes they don't. So I think the jury's still out on that. Chaos works very well as one word to describe the 2-hour premiere. I can't think of a better one. I think the title of the show should have been given to Kane with unprecedented body damage. Oh, that's good. I like that. Wow, did Bruce ever clock himself on that first log? Looked like he may have hit the second one too, but I'm pretty sure it was the first one that took him out. Good on him for finishing the challenge. Yeah, Joanna and I have been going back and forth about where he hit his head. At the Sweat or Savvy challenge, I thought it was funny how Ratu vocalized what I thought was a brilliant strategic move of giving Tika the Sweat challenge and then did the exact opposite. What if Kane or Lauren or Matty Mouse had stepped up and volunteered to do Savvy? With Bruce injured, the Sweat challenge would have fallen on Jam Jam and Carson, and although it would have been great TV, I doubt they've gotten to Coconut 30 32, never mind the finishing line. Yeah, good point. Brandyn was so gassed from hauling coconuts that he had too little in the tank for the immunity challenge, not to mention he no longer had Matthew's help. Matthew's injury did not have to happen, and Ratu's tribe strength took a big hit. His decision to play a shot in the dark made a little more sense than Jamie's decision, who was just paranoid. Carolyn's in trouble on that Tika tribe. The brainy alliance of Sarah, Carson, and Helen looks solid, and Jam Jam has a better chance than Carolyn of surviving if they find themselves at tribal. It was nice to see fire-making skills from Jam Jam, Heidi, and Matthew. I was impressed to hear the prep work that Carson put in. I thought Lauren showed some clever gameplay, fixing the rock draw and powering up her double vote at her first tribal. This enables her to keep up the fiction that she lost her vote. There may be some suspicion, but for now, her advantage is secret. Speaking of advantages, the inheritance advantage sounds interesting. I can't wait to see how that plays out. Sarah also did well to keep it a secret. Poor Matt, no advantage and no votes for 2 tribals. He and Franny are having fun, but Showmance or not, they'll need to pull in more alliance members or may find themselves targeted as a power couple. Joanne and Stacy, you had me laughing out loud when Joanne, you said, I did take a muscle relaxer, and Stacy, you replied, at least you're not making dinosaur noises. Yeah. Love the podcast. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Riz. Good job on your feedback there. Next up, we got a call from Boother.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor fans. This is Boother calling in. Stacy, your word for this episode was chaos. Mine was why. There's so many things. You ask yourself, why did they do that? The first and foremost was, why did they treat Carolyn like that? Why did they embarrass her on the premiere of their episode 1 for season 44? I felt sorry for Carolyn and her family. The other issue was Matthew, why he abandoned his relationship with Brandyn so quickly. Why didn't they point out in tribal council Lauren's deception and how she did not tell the truth to everybody? Good on Brandyn, playing his idol. Everybody knew about it, and it was worthless anyway, so he used it at the right time. Good job, Brandyn. I'm rooting for you. That's it for now, and I'm looking forward to what everybody else has to say. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Boother. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. I loved the 2-hour episode. There was lots of time for footage that had nothing to do with season 44. Hey, CBS, American Idol called. They want their individual players repeating the same thing montage pack. When they showed highlights and flashbacks, they focused on a box lid. Okay, who else thought that Leaf was going to crawl out?
Oh, nice.
Joanne and Stacy, I don't care for these colors. They're not pleasing to me. If CBS wants to show how truly diverse they are, they might want to use red, white, and blue, baby. I liked how Jeff was having problems keeping up with the challenge, so I guess it's good that it stopped. I didn't care for when he was coaching from the sidelines. He's got to use a ring to knock it off. Foul on the host. Remember when players had to actually pay attention when the challenge was explained to them? The music was interesting. I heard knockoff versions of Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, in the jungle, the quiet jungle. And then we heard the Mission Impossible theme. Oh yeah, and Under the Sea. Jam Jam is less annoying than I expected. They could make more money if they allowed tribe sponsorships. You're the Uber tribe, and you're the Jardians tribe, and your tribe are the CBS Ghosts. The challenge where they moved the chest to the beach. Can you imagine if Coach was there? He'd have surfed in on top of the box. I was hating tribal with the way my lackluster USB Jamie and her game was going, but twice I shouted, yeah, with her safe and with the first boot snuffed. Joanne, your I'm fine story was great. It reminded me of the day I turned 40. I decided to mountain bike all 23 miles out at Oak Mountain State Park. It's a great mountain bike path. And I just started, I was a couple of miles in, and I passed this fellow, and I got a little more up the trail, and there was this real technical part, and I lost it. I fell off the bike, fell down, my feet were clamped in, and the handlebars torpedoed me. Ooh. And I was just laying there feeling like, I didn't want to move, but I realized that if I didn't get up soon, that guy I passed was going to catch up and see me like that. So I rode it out, and it was a great ride. And I hope everybody has a great week. Bye, everyone.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling back. Oh, my God. Survivor is back with a bang. That was a great episode. It was just crazy action from the get-go. And I don't know, maybe it's because this time watching it, I've been in college taking notes on everything for 6 weeks, but I took meticulous notes. And for the first time, I kind of know everyone's name and the names of the team because I wrote it all down. So here are my impressions. My favorite people on Soku is Matt, Franny, and Danny. I love these players. On Tika, I love Helen. I really love Helen. I love Carson. And I love Yam Yam, who I chose as my USC, just based on he was the last person you talked about in the Jabbit podcast, so his name stayed with me the longest. God, he's fun to watch. What positivity. I don't know if he's really going to win, but he's going to be super fun to root for. On the Rapture team, I like Brandyn, I like Matthew, and I really like Lauren. Those are my favorites right now. Okay, first of all the injuries. Oh, my God. Bruce going out on his very first, I'm going to dive under the mud and hitting his head, and then it becoming such a medical emergency because he's in such pain he has to be taken out of the game. That was intense. And then Matthew being like, I'm such an outdoorsman. I love Survivor. I'm just going to climb this mountain, and he falls, dislocates his shoulder, and cuts his foot. And he's crying, going, I don't know why I did that. And I'm looking at him going, I don't know why you did that either. I loved when Tika had to do the savvy, and Helen and Carson just owned that puzzle. They did it so quickly, and I just think they're both so cool. I think Helen is kind of a boss. Tika's my favorite tribe with Helen and Carson and Yam Yam. And I wrote on my notes, Carolyn, drug counselor, is she on drugs? She's a nut poodle. I think I just made up that word. She's a wackadoodle nut poodle. That woman is so strange. When she's like, nobody wants to work with me, I'm like, yeah, I would not want to work with you either. I like that Helen and Sarah made an alliance. I liked that Matt and Franny made an alliance and Brandyn and Matthew made an alliance. It was something about this cast was just really likable. Okay, and then at the end, Ratchy has to go to tribal. I'm watching Maddie try to work the tribe to get everyone to vote for Brandyn, and Brandon's actually kind of laid back, and I thought, Maddie's kind of going at it a little hard, but I was happy because I chose her as first out. And then everybody gives up their vote. Lauren banks her vote. Matthew plays shot in the dark. Brandyn plays his idol. Jamie plays shot in the dark for absolutely no reason. Nobody was even talking about her. The one vote for Maddie gets her voted out. I was pretty happy, though, because for the first time ever, I got a 2-point vote out. And I just want to say that yesterday I also got 100 on my test on funk. I'm taking a music class. And 100 on my test on Miles Davis and raised my average to a 95.3. And then I got 2 vote-out points in Survivor. For the first time ever, I'm number 1 with a whole bunch of people in both the side challenge and the regular. Yesterday was a good day. So I wrote in my notes next time on Survivor, will Matt and Franny get married? Will Helen hold an intervention for Carolyn? What will happen next? Interesting. I do want to say happy birthday, Joanne, because I know our birthdays are very close together. I think yours is right before mine, or maybe right after mine, and mine is Tuesday. And I'm so glad this is back, and can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. You guys have a wonderful time. About 7:15 in Oahu. I'm going to go on a bike ride before work. Aloha. Bye.
Well, thank you very much, Rebecca, and happy belated birthday to you. Mine was Thursday.
Good deal. Good job, Rebecca, and great work on your test there.
Yes, excellent.
Next up,
and your picks.
Yeah. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
This was one crazy episode to launch us into the new season. The way we started out with hearing from basically everyone right at the beginning was quite special, and I don't recall that happening before. The Sweat versus Savvy challenge this time around was intriguing, and I'm not surprised that Carson was one of the people who was chosen to help solve the puzzle on Tika. I wonder if you were able to hold the puzzle to help count it and not get lost in the count. I can only imagine how much all of those coconuts together weighed, and so it's not surprising that the two on Ratu who did it were exhausted afterwards, and I think dehydrated too. Okay, like most fans, I don't like seeing people get hurt on the show, but with this premiere, we've already had 3, and I get the feeling there will be more as the season goes on. That said, I do feel quite sorry for Bruce, who only lasted a few hours before having to get pulled. With that injury, I wasn't surprised with the decision to pull him, even though he did try to make it through. The way Matthew was injured was very avoidable. I can understand that climbing on things is fun, but with no good grip, that can be what happens. Lastly, Brandyn was the 3rd person to get looked at. I think his was just a case of dehydration, and I know if you don't have much liquid in you, then that can happen. Luckily, he seems to be okay, though. The boat trip adventure this time around was quite different than before, in that if you lost your vote, then you do still have a chance to try again for an advantage. I also think the idea of each trip there is a different advantage from the others, is a new twist, and I wonder how the inheritance advantage will work. You already said that, right? So, okay.
No.
You didn't talk about the...
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
We'll explain it.
You and I talked about it, so I
Yes.
couldn't remember. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about it after, Jack.
Yeah.
If there was a background theme to this season, it seems to be medieval times. Yeah. Definitely it did. Based on the sword and shield immunity props and the look of the tribal council set. For my USB, I chose Carson after thinking about it and hearing the others' feedback. I still like Josh, and I hope he goes far, but I decided not to choose him just because of his medical condition that was provided to us before the season began. I did get the first boot correctly. Congratulations. Thanks to the Facebook group.
Yeah, I think you were in quite a big group.
I probably wouldn't have chosen her otherwise. I can see that Carolyn could get annoying quite quickly, so I don't have much hope for her after this episode, and it seems like Matt and Franny may be starting a relationship out there. I'm going to guess Carolyn as the next out, but I doubt that it's going to be the case. All right, thanks, Jack.
In the interview with Probst, he talked about the inheritance advantage, and the way it works is that Sarah will have to, when she goes to vote, she'll have to announce that she's playing it, and then anything that gets played, any advantages or idols that get played, she'll be able to collect, but that collection won't happen until after the voting's done.
But
so
she doesn't have to announce it.
In the voting booth. It's not
in the
to
voting
everyone.
booth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I misunderstood.
She has to
I thought
declare
you
it in the voting booth.
Yes, in the voting booth, so that the others don't know, and she won't get it. Whatever. And if the weird thing is if nothing is played, it's just another bust.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone did play some idols or advantages,
or she has one, let's say that she ends up with immunity, she can play it and get it back.
I guess so.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes, it is. It's just there's this big gamble. You don't know what's going to happen in tribal.
But what he also explained is that the person who played the idol or they still get the advantage of it. So she's not taking anything away from anyone.
Right.
They still get to use it. It's just that she will secretly receive the same ones, yes, she will inherit it after they've used it, and as many that is used. So, though that wouldn't include the shot in the dark, but I wouldn't think. What if she could collect several shots in the dark?
You could get your shot in the dark back?
I don't know. He didn't really say that
That's
one.
a good
but
question. It is an
advantage
that you have. So why not?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be. We'll have to wait and see. But that was interesting. So I'm glad we got to Probst to explain that. And thank you, Dalton, for asking him.
Yes. And I want to comment on one other thing that Jack mentioned, the medieval set with the dragons and the swords and shields, and then the big chessboard. I forgot who it was, but on the Survivor subreddit, someone had looked at that chessboard, and I think they used one of the, I can't remember what it's called, but one of the real popular chess engines, and computed that there were 17 moves to checkmate. Had there not been a medical, there would be 17 people left in the game until you win the million.
At this tribal, there was only going to be 17 left after that.
Yeah, if we hadn't had the medevac with Bruce.
Well, we're interested to see if it changes
if the board changes. And they did give you a clear overhead shot where you could see where all the pieces were.
Yeah.
So, wow, kudos to that person for picking up on that and then running it through the chess computer.
I don't know.
And if they made that up, then that was really clever too. So I don't know for sure.
I don't really know anything about chess much, so I've never played. So
used to play at lunch in high school, but never really played after that. It was something we did to pass the time.
Well, it'd be interesting though to see if it changes week to week, and that would be just a really clever little thing to slip in there.
Yeah, that would be next level clever. And kudos to whoever saw that and figured it out. I don't even know how to run those chess programs nowadays.
Yes, unlike Dave Armstrong's idea for Carol.
The editing thing with Carol.
Okay, I didn't like that so much, but okay.
Good.
It was an idea.
Swing and a miss for me, Dave. All right, thanks again, Jack. Next up, we got a call from Nicola-n-Jackson.
All right.
Hi, Survivor family. It's Nicola and
Jackson.
Oh, guest appearance by Jackson. We are actually in Tennessee, where Mr. Jackson has a tournament this weekend. We got back to the hotel after he shot some arrows tonight. Had a lot of good rounds there. You ready for tomorrow?
Yep. And what was my score?
222, one of his best ever.
Yep, so I could get a belt buckle if I beat the other 4 in my division.
You could, and he also did actually pick up his state champion trophy this evening.
Yay.
But I'll post more about it in the Facebook group. On to Survivor. We watched Survivor on the way down today. And what did you think about the first episode?
Fun. I can't believe Bruce cracked his head and he went home on like the first day.
It was kind of sad, wasn't it? You got a little upset about it.
Yeah, and oh god, so much blood. And how Matt fell from the rock.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think he dislocated his shoulder and it looked like he broke his toe or something.
Yeah, there was a lot of blood there too.
Yep, so much blood.
And then who else went down? Brandyn went down at the challenge. It was a great first episode. We both really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a close call for the winnings.
It was. Those big blocks looked like they were super heavy.
Yeah, and he got so sweaty he nearly passed out.
He did. I guess that's it. We'll wind it up. Give everybody a shout. But I figured we would get Jackson on here for at least one episode this year. And I will talk to you soon. Thanks for everything you do. Looking forward to hearing everybody's feedback. I think the right person, well, I'm not going to say the right person went home. I thought they're all a pretty good cast. I can't wait to see what Carolyn does. I'm sure she's going to irk a lot of people, and we'll see.
Yep.
Should be a good ride.
Yep. Bye. This is Jackson and
Nicola signing out. Have a great week, everybody. Be careful.
Bye. Ready for the next Survivor episode.
Yeah. Peace out.
Thanks, Nicola. Thanks, Jackson. Great to hear you again.
And congratulations.
Yeah. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. So, first thing first, yes, I missed Javik. I I listened to yours, of course, and then by the time I saw the notice, I was like, oh, I better do that before it's due today without even realizing it was Sunday morning. So, but let this be a testament. Let this serve as a testament to the value of Javik, because I will tell you, I watched the episode yesterday. I listened to your recap this morning at the gym. By the way, thank you for keeping me company during leg day. But the Javik, obviously, I know one of the main purposes of it is to familiarize us with the cast. And it wasn't even until the end of your recap that I finally concluded that Matt and Matthew were different people. And also, Maddie kept throwing me off, too. I mean, when I thought about it, of course, I knew who Maddie was, but it kind of doesn't help that my brother, Matt, actually, sometimes people call him Matt, so it's Matty, Anyway, it was a little bit confusing. I know what's going down now, especially I should know, because Matthew is my USB. And I will tell you, the reason I picked him, I mean, I listened to the Javik, both of them, but I hadn't really placed any faces with names yet that well, so I picked him because he had what I consider to be the best beard. I didn't even realize at the time that he also had my exact haircut. So there's a kinship there. I like it. I like that he's super into the game. I like that he has worked hard to get there. So yeah, I think it wasn't a terrible pick for USB. And let's just say I got the first out bonus. So that when I saw Maddie's name come up, my jaw literally dropped. Like, I'm not kidding you. I was in the locker room at the gym just getting ready for my workout when I was finishing tribal council, and my jaw literally dropped open. So, but it was a fun premiere. I'm kind of over the medical drama. I don't know. It could be just coincidence, or maybe they're making things more harrowing. But I feel like it's kind of I don't know, like abusive or manipulative or something. They're using injury. I mean, I'll never forget when Jeff said it's not Survivor until you see blood or whatever it was, and I was like, Jeff, that's gross. So anyway, looking forward to this season. The cast is hit and miss as usual, but yeah, I am here. Happy to be sharing the top spot at the side challenge for now. Everyone have a great weekend. Bye.
All right. Good job on your picks, Drew.
Yeah, I'm good with no blood.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Sure. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Well, Stacy, you nailed it when you said in the recap that one word described the first episode. I thought immediately what it was, and you said yes. It was chaos, from Matthew falling from the rock to 3 times medical team being called in to the final tribal council where the vote, everything was all over the place, and yet only one vote counted. The word for the first episode was chaos, and I loved every minute of it. It was Survivor on steroids. What a great first episode. The opening with Carolyn talking to the producer, I never even questioned why they did it, but thinking about it now, I think what we're going to do is follow her arc from being totally clueless, almost unintelligible, trying to just come up with the first, as the producer said, easy question. I think we're going to be watching her progress through the game. I think she's going to go a long way, and she's going to play it better and better. I thought it was very interesting that they compared her right away, I think it was to Bruce, who was like gung-ho about playing the game, and then look what happened to him. He was the first one actually out. But I think Carolyn is just going to work my last nerve. She'll be entertaining to watch. She'd drive me crazy if she was on my team. But I have to say, I remember somewhat thinking about the same thing about Marianne on her season, thinking, oh, she'd drive me crazy. Yeah. And then by the end, actually championing her to win. And I said last season, the one thing I knew for certain, absolutely no doubt, there's no way Gabler was going to win Survivor, and I said that all season, and look where that went. As to that chaotic tribal council, let me just say that I thought Maddie and Laurel were playing the most strategic games. The problem was they're playing with a bunch of rank amateurs. There was no reason like Matthew and Jamie should have played the shot in the dark. They can't play it the rest of the game, and there was no reason to play it. If they hadn't played it, I'm convinced Brandyn would not have played his idol, and so he would have been the first one out. For Laurel to bank her vote, she undercut the female alliance. Jamie said it didn't make a difference if she played the shot in the dark. Well, it did make a difference. So I just felt that they were not playing with the caliber that Maddie was, but the problem for Maddie was she was playing much too hard and much too visibly a game. And I'm sure you already heard that Jeff says that Bruce could come back whenever he wants to, which indicates to me that there may be a returning player season. You've got seasons 41 through 44 to pick them from, and I'd really be looking forward to that. But for now, this is a great start to the season. I have high expectations. I'd love to hear what the rest of you guys have to say. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Yeah, Probst actually didn't specify that it would be a returning season. Bruce has so little time in the game that he could easily
join in with a new
another season, and it wouldn't matter a bit.
Yeah, that was my thought too, because he really didn't play the game.
No, he didn't even remember parts of being out there after he cracked his head like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, he didn't even hear him call for medical. He said,
no, just woke back up to Probst cradling his head.
That's right, and gave him a wink. Probst said.
Good deal. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hope you and all the Survivor fans are well, and you've all had a great break. I was able to listen to Jabik and the subsequent feedback, and it was really helpful for me, as it was my only source of information going to the season opener. I had no time to read or watch videos this year. I've chosen Jam Jam as my winner, just solely on the basis that he said the wildest things in that trailer, like poop in the ocean. I think trumped anything I saw, even from Carolyn. I went with my fiance's theory that the winner would have the strangest, wackiest comment made in the trailer. And I think this is just based on how we felt going into 43 and the vibes from 43 at the end of it, with Gable winning. And I went with that theory. I was tossing and turning between himself and Carolyn, but I think I made a mistake. And I think this is basis of that really strange opening. It just feels really grimy. And if Carolyn wins and they did that on purpose, I think I might be done with Survivor for a while. I think Chaos is a really good summary. I'd probably go as far as saying discombobulation. It was just really just all over the place. But I think if we're going to define chaos, we can define it in two ways. We can have good chaos and bad chaos. I think good chaos being what we've seen in the past. We've seen a lot of chaos as Survivor fans, but I think they've had good outcomes, or they've come across in a good way. They've created good entertainment. I think this was just bad. It just felt like very choppy, very disorganized. Let's just summarize it. Look, the opener, I felt like the way that the storytelling, there wasn't a lot of it. I thought I would see more in the season opener for a 2-hour episode. Maybe it was the same, but I thought it would be a little bit more. The handling of the Bruce medevac was just weird. The attention from the medicos to Brandyn, strange. Again, what you touched on, the both of you, with the preparation of contestants, the selection of some contestants I'm doubting now. It just makes me think that this is illustrative of how cheap the game has become, and it's diverged from what it used to be. And I'd like to know your thoughts on this. If you think what we saw today was a culmination of the budget cuts, finally, 4 seasons of budget cuts. Side note, I had no idea Jeff had a podcast. I think it's just him feeding the monster, i.e. his ego. To the Bruce exit, again, it's just strange, from an Australian, we treat concussion so seriously here, and I've just noticed that in sports particularly, they don't really care about it as much. NFL's had a big coverage with concussion, and I don't know if it's a systemic of the country, or I'd like for you to let me know if that is. We're just taken aback by it, the fiancé and I. And the last thing, Brandyn, good on him. Obvious call, tug on his back, but not sure what the two of Matthew and Jamie playing their shot in the dark. We'll never know. And him congratulating her was even stranger. I thought it was in the Twilight Zone. And I feel like the idol cage is going to be a bit pointless, but open to see how the new advantages go. Cheers, Stacey. I've joined you on 3 points. I can't wait to end up on 277 by the end. Have a good one.
Oh, all right. Thanks, Shahin.
I believe, Shahin, that it is taken more seriously here, and certainly they did take it seriously and took him to a hospital. And I was very surprised that when we rewatched, and we already knew that Bruce had said in his interviews that he stayed at the Ponderosa in his room for 3 days with no lights and all of that, and that he thought he was better till he opened the door to the sunlight.
Bright
and
light
then
hit him and rocked
really
him
hit
back
him and,
again.
Yeah, knocked him back again. So he was not okay. I mean, he wasn't going to die, I think is what Probst meant, but he made very light of it when it wasn't that light. It was more serious.
Yeah, you're talking about Probst making light of it, saying that he was fine basically at the immunity
he's fine,
challenge.
no problem. He's fine. And he wanted to tell them that he doesn't want them to worry and have it pull them out of the game. They want them to get focused back into the game, and I think that's why he made light of it. It's not that Bruce was really okay, but he's not. His injury is not going to be fatal. He's doing all right.
Following the concussion protocol.
Yes. Yes.
From that perspective. Now, with your other question about how it's viewed, like Joanne said, and you alluded to too, thanks to finally exposing a lot of the CTEs and the other brain injuries that had happened in the NFL and with the armed forces, that it finally got focused. That doesn't mean that people in the NFL don't get those concussions or have awful things happen to them since all those changes, and they continue to evolve the protocols. But I was listening to a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast, and this defensive back was talking about how he got hit so hard that it bruised his spinal cord and temporarily paralyzed him. And anyway, he listed
That's pretty severe.
Yeah, he listed and he didn't know it. He went from not being able to move and then getting carried off the field to coming back and playing again in like 2 weeks, and turned out it could have been he could have died. So it's like the trainers and the doctors in the NFL are primarily there to make sure the team makes money, and so they push these guys to crazy ends. So while it's better, it's still all about the money in the end for them, and these people get really messed up. Do you think it has anything to do with all the budget cuts? That was an interesting question Shahin asked.
The way they treated him?
He's just asking a general question.
No, I don't.
If what we saw was a bias. I don't either.
No, I don't.
I don't really detect any kind of connection to the budget cuts. You have to, obviously you want to watch for that, but it sounds like we were listening to the Probst podcast that they still have the big medical team. They haven't cut back on them. So there's doctors, nurses, paramedics, the chopper's still available to get people out, and they ended up using it for Bruce because the weather was bad. They put him on a boat, put him on a chopper, and then they ended up having to drive him the last 2 hours to get to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about how the departments were immediately on the radios, walkie-talkies, coordinating and planning contingencies.
No, I think they're really on top of that. And the other thing that Probst made certain to be known was that he has nothing to say about it one way or the other once medical's called. Once he says medical, Probst has no control over the decision made.
Well, and he even stated it more broadly and say, I don't have anything to do with whether someone stays in the game or not.
Nope.
And in that kind of case, it's the medical professionals making the call.
Yes, it's their call 100%.
Good deal. Thanks. Good question, Shahin. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, what a jam-packed first episode. I'm setting the over-under on Pete's woohoo at 15 seconds. I don't think he quite hit that, but that's good. My other observations. Long ago, I had a Carolyn for a neighbor. Closing doors and windows helped. I bet. Jamie's Bing is nowhere near as effective as Carl's was. Indeed. Bruce's exit would have been easier to take if he had left his emotion chip at home. It's eerie how much Kane looks like WWE pro wrestler Kane. Okay, I don't know that, but I'll go look it up.
I don't know WWE.
That's wrestling.
I
World
know
wrestling.
that.
Oh, okay.
I used to go to wrestling.
Jeff thinks you can't get an instant family. Ever heard of a shotgun wedding? Many contestants want to use their heads in a challenge, but not like Bruce did. Based on his that's a serious dad joke area right there. Based on his obvious winner's edit, the sole survivor will be Dr. Will. In the first challenge, jammed in that last puzzle piece. He did indeed, didn't he? Carolyn's struggles with the ring toss were painful to watch. Yeah, she was doing those crazy yells the whole time. I didn't really pick up on it.
Dinosaur yells.
Yeah, when we were rewatching, I realized that every time she went to throw the ring up, she was yelling out like that.
Even professional tennis players do that every time they hit, they make a not exactly that kind of noise, but you can tell they're really hitting it, working hard.
Okay.
They make a loud like. Ugh.
Right. When Josh isn't knocking down stuck rings, he frees stuck basketballs in kids' games. Yeah. I always hated that when it got stuck in the rim. You needed another basketball to get it down when it got wedged between the rim and the backboard. Will baby bird Matt go splat by falling for Franny?
Mine always just went in and cleared the net.
Oh, all net for you? Okay.
I never had that happen.
So I like this. Will baby bird Matt go splat by falling for Franny? Here's my theory on the Franny Matt thing. I think for Franny it's all platonic because she thinks Matt's gay.
Gameplay or something.
She thinks Matt is gay. You spoke over what I was saying.
Oh, you think she thinks he's gay?
Yes.
And they're just buddies?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yep, that's it. And then he's going to be devastated again.
I don't think so, and I certainly hope not. Poor Maddie.
Poor Matt.
But Matt. Well, Maddie. I can call him Maddie
now that Maddie Mouse is gone.
Yeah.
Firefighter Danny wants to snuff the torches of unpleasant tribe mates. Birds in cages were used to predict danger for those toiling in the dark. I'm just saying. Okay, canaries in coal mines. Got it. Brandyn may have been the #1 draft pick for Sweat, but not for the NFL.
Ooh.
Is anyone else alarmed that Carolyn is a mom? Oh, that's mean. Carson gained 30 pounds for the show. Before that, he'd float away in a stiff breeze. Jeff hones his counseling skills so he'll have a soft landing when the hosting gig ends. Matthew wanted a midlife challenge, displaying Survivor with one arm count. That's perfect. Oh, that one, you dialed that one in.
Probst makes $8 million a year, though. Not sure he'll have to worry about it.
Oh, yeah. The tally thus far: 4 medical visits, 4 new twists, 1 successful shot in the dark. Carolyn based her facial expressions on evil pro wrestlers from the 1970s. Oh, she's definitely got a Mad Chic thing going. I'm with you on that. Mm-hmm. Lauren gamed the rock draw. I'll bet she plays poker with marked cards, too. Yeah, she's sneaky. Brandyn says he should have kept his idol a secret. Thanks, Captain Obvious. I always love the Captain Obvious. The editors disappointed me. Matt's 0 for 2 on Lookout Island needed a sad trombone. Womp womp. The tribal immunity idols look cool. I hope the sword is dull for the doctor's sake.
Yeah, that was my very first thought. It was like, yikes.
What's worse than a giant slide puzzle? Giant Jenga blocks. Kane Joelled Lauren through the water. Joelled. Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
As in Joel and Chet.
Nothing. Yes.
From
Micronesia.
Micronesia, yes.
Yeah. At least it didn't leave a mark. There's a clip where you can see, and we think it's Lauren jumping off a platform to grab a bag, like a key or something.
The belly flop.
Well, not only does she do a belly flop, but I'm actually worried for her now that we saw how much she needed Kane's help just to get from that platform over there to the next stage of the challenge.
Because it's high up, and that didn't look like it was painless.
Yeah. Future dream teams should run challenges with fewer people to mimic sit-outs. I wonder if they do that. That's good. Did footballer Brandyn force a medical timeout to buy the other players a water break? Could be. It's like a soccer flop.
Or himself.
Well, they decided to run an IV, so. Did Jamie learn to make those weird faces by watching sitcoms? Yeah, there's definitely some overacting going on between her and Carolyn's faces.
What scared me was that it looked genuine to me.
Mm-hmm.
That, it was genuine.
We did not judge that book's cover correctly.
I sure didn't.
Yeah. Poor Matthew sitting on a bench watching Ratu lose was hard on him. I'm not sure I'd want Yogini Jamie to teach me mindfulness and tranquility. Definitely not. No. She has not mastered those skills. That was the wackiest first tribal I've ever seen. 2 shots in the dark, 1 idle played, and 1 vote first boot. A 1 vote first boot.
They say you teach what you need to learn.
Oh, is that it? Okay. Interesting. Next time, a showmance. Which is the better ship name, Frat or Manny?
I like Manny.
Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna, Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thank you, Josh. Good job, bud.
Did not disappoint. I felt like I really misjudged Claire, too. I just totally discounted her, and I thought, no, she's got more going on. I think she could be very
There's an extra video on Claire, on Danny, and one that features Matthew. And the one on Claire is talking, I thought the most pertinent part of it was she was talking about how much she had dialed her personality back because she didn't want to be viewed as playing too hard. And Franny's first comment on Claire was, now she's playing really hard.
She's here to play.
So she has failed at masking.
And I have to watch that. She said, I like her. And I like the fact that she really is strategizing and thinking everything through. And Franny wanted somebody she could do that with. But she's like, but she's really here to play. And I got to watch out for that.
So she's clearly already being perceived as playing really hard.
But I thought, okay, I think I underestimated her. And, I really kept, in some of the interviews that I read, I really saw a different angle of Carolyn. And it makes me wonder, because I do think there is a different, softer, quieter side where, she would be more the counselor side of her or something. And I just wonder if they're going to show us that side, or if they're starting out with all this just so they can show a different side to her later, or if that's just the character that they chose just to show that side of her character.
Time will tell. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hi, Joanna and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Kim from North Carolina, calling with my listener feedback. I'm back in JSFL, but don't worry, I'm no threat. I already lost my USB, and it was not Maddie. I just finished listener feedback, and I agree that this episode was pretty chaotic. Maybe that was designed so that people would feel like they had to go to Jeff's podcast in order to understand anything about the show. Caroline, or Carolyn, is she the new Gabler? That was an odd way to start the show, unless she is somebody who's going to end up going farther than anybody ever thought she would. I really liked Lauren, the teacher. Now she's got an advantage, but when someone analyzes what happened at that tribal council, I guess they're going to realize that someone didn't vote and that it's probably her. But I like her, so I hope she figures it out. I get really bored of the, oh, that person isn't trustworthy talk. Here at the beginning, how are you supposed to be trustworthy when you're trying to compete and win a game and there's all these weird challenges out there? Speaking of challenges, I like the little twist to the trip to the island and the idol in the bird cage. Ratu, the orange tribe, they just only have Duncan, and I hope he keeps himself in better condition, because it almost looks like they just don't have anyone who's a challenge beast. Soka, the green tribe, definitely has the man strength advantage going for them. And Tika, the purple tribe, has some really awesome looking smart women. So I'm looking forward to see how the whole thing shakes out. From the purple tribe, we might get a lot of statistical calculations, so that might be fun. Last thing to say, I'm definitely gonna give Jeff's podcast one listen, but I hear enough of him talking during the challenges that I don't want to hear. So there's no way his podcast would ever be more favorite for me than this wonderful podcast and all of the wonderful participants. Everybody have a great week. Thanks for everything. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Kim. Well, Probe says his podcast is cooler than the ones that do recaps. So he's got that going for him.
Okay. I don't disagree with that, because he is going to give, well, we only had time to do about 15 minutes of it, and it's around, I don't know, 44, 45 minutes. And so we haven't listened to the last part of it yet. We'll go back and do that. But we're gonna. We didn't know it was gonna be that long, and we would need to do it before this morning, and we didn't do that.
Didn't look. So now we know.
Yep. Now we know we can be better prepared next week.
He said that his was the only podcast where you're going to get the detail behind the scenes from the department stuff. But he's going to have to work really hard to do better than Dalton Ross has done in some of his long form articles, where he went deep on what's it take to get an episode, to get a season off the ground, and all the different departments.
Dalton's just sharp. I have great respect for him.
We'll see.
Now, there was a clip, too, where that showed the Soka tribe, the Green tribe. And we considered them to be very strong and together and all of that. And Danny was talking about, boy, they were a bunch of misfits, and, none of them had any idea. Just we're all city kids.
Except
we don't know
Heidi.
anything about this.
He highlighted
except
Heidi's
for
skills.
Heidi. And they were just making do, and he said, I don't know anything, and I'm probably the best one out here for shelter.
Yeah.
And so they were they were doing it. I don't know how well they're doing it, but they were out there trying anyway.
Yeah, we didn't see the finished product, but they were getting work
it was
done.
Matt that was trying to use the machete to cut the bamboo, and he could not even make a dent in it. Danny came up and whacked it, and it went
Danny knew to
right
cut on an angle instead of going perpendicular to the
And Matt was
the
just
bamboo.
like, doink, doink. But he and Josh got a good laugh
Shades
on
of
it.
millennials versus Gen X with
Yep,
David.
Yep.
Thanks again, Kim. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi everyone, it's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. I really enjoyed that first episode. Those 2 hours really flew by. Starting with Tika Tribe, oh my god, poor Bruce. It is devastating to see people get pulled from the game so early. But I listened to Jeff Probst's new podcast. He said they've already invited Bruce to come back and play again, so at least there's that. I was so sad. I'm so sad that Bruce is gone. My girl Carolyn made it through this episode, barely. I'm kind of worried about her going forward. It seems like she's not making alliances. I kind of suspected that the 3 young people would band together, or at least pretend to band together, but I was hoping that her and Bruce and Jam Jam could work something out. But now I'm concerned. I think maybe Tika could be headed for tribal council soon. Jam Jam is so much fun. I hope he'll be on the show for a long time. One more thing, they're really lucky that Ratu chose Sweaty, I think, because I don't know if Tika could have pulled off Sweaty.
Good
especially with Bruce and his condition. They probably wouldn't have let him do the coconuts. Maybe that's what really happened behind the scenes. Survivor producers were like, look, guys, we know you won, but Tika's going to do Savvy. Okay? Thanks. My daughter was like, I'd rather have 4 hours than 15 minutes. And I was like, I'd rather be done in 15 minutes so that I could get to working on camp. And also, like, 4 hours may not be enough time to do that challenge. Like, they set it to 4 hours for a reason. So I kind of felt validated later when they just barely made it. Soka Tribe. Franny and Matt are so goofy that I couldn't help but think, I wish Stacy was on this tribe with them. Sorry, Stacy, but it would be so funny to watch you try not to show how annoyed you are. That would be fun TV. Claire really, really impressed me. Sneakily talking to Matthew about Advantage Island. I was really impressed. That was really cool of her. Smart. Brandyn, I think, did the right thing by playing that idol. Sorry, I moved on to Ratu now. He did the right thing by playing that idol because everybody knew about it, and now it's burned, so maybe he won't be a target going forward. Jamie's paranoia, it's just a pet peeve of mine, watching people freak out and be scared on Survivor. I think it's terrible TV, so I'm down on her. Down on Matthew. I think playing the shot in the dark was a dumb idea. I wonder if now that they've pulled the safe scroll, does that mean that it's pointless to try to play the shot in the dark again? Like, would it be pointless for Lauren and Brandyn and Kane to try theirs? Because theoretically the safe scroll is gone, right? I don't know how all that works because I really don't like advantages in Survivor. There's too many of them. They take away too much airtime. And I think they're counter to what I liked about Survivor in old school, which was that you had to be persuasive and persuade people to vote the way you wanted them to vote. And now it's like, if you can just find a trinket before everybody else finds a trinket, then you win the game. And it bugs me because I just don't feel like that requires any skill whatsoever. And it doesn't require, it like takes away from the idea that this is a social experiment. So when they explain advantages, I tend to tune out. I'm not the person who's ever going to know the rules about how they work. And I'm always going to be the person that's like, wait, how does that work? Like, case in point, Lauren, I thought, was so clever because she knew which rock to pull. I was like, that was such a great idea. She is so smart. And then she comes back and lies about losing her vote. I thought, they're all going to know that you have a vote because you're going to vote in the next tribal, because I didn't realize that she wasn't going to vote in the next tribal. So that was also super clever. But I think she might be in trouble if they go back to tribal. But I don't think they will, because I think the only reason they lost is because of Brandyn getting dehydrated. Hopefully he will drink more water going forward. Again, I think Tika is probably in trouble next time. And maybe my girl Carolyn can get a footing and stay in the game, I hope. I hope everyone has a great weekend too. Bye!
Oh, this is going to be interesting to watch.
You are absolutely correct in that Stacy would not be able to hide how he felt. Just the way you got up and walked away would be very telling. You would not. You would be really good at a lot of things, and you could psych people out, and you can look so genuine and be pulling somebody's leg. You do it to my poor mother, and I'll go, Mama, he's kidding. And she'll go, oh, because anything you do is wonderful to Mom. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what. It's wonderful. And so she loves you. And but for someone, certain tones of voice or something that is annoying to you,
yes,
you do not hide that well.
Right.
You do show your annoyance with that.
I don't pick up on things as well with like them potentially having a relationship either. So no, I'm not good at reading social cues and stuff. So some of that stuff I have to practice because I don't get it.
Yeah, no, you never have.
Yeah.
I would say things about, well, so-and-so, and look, and huh? What? How did you know that?
So let's circle back for
He's cute.
Noelle asking about the shot in the dark. So the way we understand it, or I should say the way I understand it, just in case you and I are different in some ways, is that now that Jamie and Matthew have played their shot in the dark, that's it. They will have no more opportunities to do that. And there's still shot in the dark available for Brandyn, Kane, and Lauren, because everybody gets that 1 in 6 chance. One person choosing, 2 people choosing to play their shot in the dark. It doesn't change your odds at being able to pull it. Once Jamie pulled it, didn't mean there weren't any safes available for other people. Everybody gets a 1 in 6 chance, so they reset the thing, the bag that they pull the little scroll from for each person.
So after one had pulled, then they will come in before the next person and
make sure it's full with the appropriate 5 to 1. 5 not safe, so, 1 safe.
In other words, if someone's already pulled the safe, they'll put another one in there.
Right.
So it's still a 6 to 1 odds. Okay.
1 in 6.
I didn't
you
really.
Said that backwards.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's all the same in my brain.
All right.
All right.
Good enough. Moving on. Next up, we got a call from Jessie.
Hi, my name is Jessie, and I live in Connecticut. My first time calling into the podcast. I loved the premiere episode. It was very exciting. So much medical evacuations. Too many, actually. I was thinking about why 2 people played their shot in the dark at the first tribal council. And at first, I thought that maybe they just felt so unsafe that they would take a shot at being safe. But I actually think a much bigger part of it is that they were too scared to vote, because by voting, you're showing everyone, where your allegiance lies, and I think it's just so scary to vote for the wrong person on day one. That can set you up really badly. Like now, Kane voted. He's the only one left in the game who voted for Brandyn. Now he has to go back to camp and explain to Brandyn why he voted for him, whereas those who didn't vote, they don't have any blood on their hands. So really, it kind of just gives them a way out so that they don't have to make a decision. So I think that's the bigger part of why people didn't play their shot in the dark. Thank you for a wonderful podcast.
Well, it certainly fits with how Jamie was behaving. Scared to vote, so I won't vote.
Yeah, all right. Good job, Jesse.
Scared to commit. Yeah, there might be something to that.
And welcome to the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we got a call from Jody. Actually, two, but they're all in one audio.
Hey Survivor fans, it's Jody in Brisbane. I was getting all ready for the new season. I'd listened to your podcast and I'd made notes and I had all these things to say, and then work got in the way and I didn't get to do it, and so whatever. And then last night the show aired, but I took a couple of my kids out for the dinner and we got home and it was part way through the show and I didn't want to jump in. I thought, I've got today off, so I don't need to watch part of it. I'll just put it off and watch it today. Now, I'm trying to stream it on 9 Now, which is like the legal way to do things, but all it has up there is the preview and the show, which is stream and blah blah blah. No, it's not there, so I can't watch it. And I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm sad. And let me tell you, so last season, there's the last night, it's like split to 2 shows, also had to watch it late. And so then when I was able to watch it, I went to go on and it streamed the last episode immediately to me. So I knew who wasn't, who whatever. I am so mad. So clearly I need to work my life out so that I can watch in real time, I guess. How do you do that? Can I tell my boss? Will they understand? I don't think so. So long story long, I'm at home for the next however many hours, unable to figure this out and unable to watch the show in peace on the big screen TV. Yes, I've tried on my computer. I don't know who went. I don't know what happened. I don't know what my score is. I'm just going to say this. I felt like last week the blonde lady who's the addiction yada yada therapist whatever, I felt like she's going to have some mood swings because she confessed to being a bit of a sugar addict. So at some point she's going to get low and kick off. And
Did not know
anyway, that's the situation. This is frustrating. I may record again after I eventually get to figure out what's going on and yada yada. Maybe I won't. Who knows? But I'm despondent already. Episode 1. Technology is not my friend, my friends. Alright, catch ya! Hey Joanne and Stacey, just a short little addendum to my rant I sent in. Ugh, jeez, I was in my feelings. Wowie. Okay, that was an amazing first double episode. I'm loving so many of the cast. I can only imagine that the season started the way that it did, because Carol is a very loose nut. Yeah, very loose. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jody. Sorry you were having so much trouble just getting to watch.
Suggestion would be Survivor night is takeout night. Get takeout on the way home so the kids can eat and you can watch Survivor.
Or pizza.
Yeah,
Pizza's
that's
always
takeout,
good.
baby.
Well, you can have a pizza delivered, so she didn't even have
You
to
can have a lot
fool
of
with
things delivered.
Yeah.
But in other words, make that something that you do on Survivor night.
I know exactly what Jody's talking about. The streaming apps, no one seems to be doing a good job with any of that. And the streaming services are annoying and disappointing. There's so many ways that they could provide a better experience. We're forever, like with the Apple TV, we're watching something on the different shows on Paramount Network or on Apple Plus, or
when they try to make you watch something when it's over.
Yeah, and they'll roll right into another one. And 9 times out of 10, like on the Paramount one, it's one that we've already seen. It's like, if you like 1923, try 1883. It's like, yeah, I watched that. I watched that. It says that I watched it in the app. All you have to do is add a little logic.
Well, I guess what I find most annoying with that is you are forced to watch commercials. All this time we've done all the things that, when I watch my program that went
on
to
Peacock.
streaming,
Yeah.
yes, on Peacock, that they force you to watch the commercials.
We don't pay for the one that doesn't have commercials.
You can't fast forward them. You can pay for it.
I asked you what you wanted, and you wanted the one that was less expensive. So you probably don't remember any of this.
No, I do.
Okay.
Oh, how dare you? It's true. I don't remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I should have just got you the one
totally
that
true.
had no commercials.
No, it's not.
We know
it doesn't
Jody's
annoy
pain.
me like it annoys you.
Yes.
But I'm like, wow, we did all this stuff so we didn't have to watch commercials, and now have to watch commercials. I didn't realize that. Now I feel better about it because they're not very long. Nothing's more than a minute.
I always just mute so there's no audio.
Well, yeah, that's not an issue. I can do that, but they don't really bother me as much as they bother you.
Anyway, to Jody's greater point, the streaming services and then the apps that are available to help you with the streaming services, they're mediocre. It's like they did the least they could possibly do to get that.
Okay, let's go back to Survivor.
All right, next up, we got an email from Michael in Utah.
I just got out of the hospital after giving birth to a cancerous kidney.
Oh, man.
And I'm still having some contractions. So here is my short entry.
Dang, Michael.
I love having my weekly fix of Joanne and Stacy. Greetings to all. Carolyn is exactly like one of my daughters, recovered from addictions, very emotional, very dramatic. I wouldn't ever want to ally with her.
Interesting. Okay.
Interested to have Jeff Probst do the traditional introductions. You, on the end. What's your name? And then, during the challenge, was able to comment on each of the contestants by name.
I didn't pick up on that. That's good.
That's all I have time for today. You guys are welcome at my fire anytime. All right, thanks, Michael, and we hope you heal completely and quickly.
Yes, a carefree recovery.
I will say prayers for you.
Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
Aloha.
So, welcome to season 44.
Yay.
It's really exciting.
Oh, it was so great.
But why? Why start with Carolyn? That was so annoying to me.
Okay, so my theory.
Yeah.
Carolyn. So, she's going to be the super annoying player that is going to go deep in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have seen this and, going back and rewatching a lot of things, like, in between the seasons. And, yeah, I just think she's going to be that and really annoying one. Then I'm going to keep putting vote out. And then she's never going to get voted out. And then when I don't put her, that's when she gets voted out.
Yeah. After the merge, she's going to be part of the jury.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something a little bit like weird or off about her behavior.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm reading this book about complex PTSD, and so I saw some things in her behavior that could potentially reflect symptoms of complex PTSD. But I also, I'm not an expert. I'm just reading a book, so please take that with a vat of salt. But that's a theory of mine because she seems really struggling to connect with others.
Yeah.
But anyway. Birdcage Idol. I hate it so much.
I know. You hate it.
Because, like Joanne said, it's a dud because it's so public. They need to go more secret, not more public. And also, why are they just giving out fake idols? Like, work for the fake idols. Remember Ozzy's, stick idol with a little face?
I love
and then
that.
Jason found it and Eliza played it. That was so funny.
Yeah.
I want more of that. Not like these ready-made fake idols that you can use. I don't know. It just seems lame.
Yeah, it was kind of lame. And I do have a question about that. Will they continue to put the idols in the cage, after the idol has been played? Like Brandon played that idol. Yeah. Are they going to put it back in
the
play?
Cage?
To put it back in the cage?
I hope
It'd be so annoying.
It would be so annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was listening to Jeff's podcast because I was kind of hoping that they would talk about some of this stuff. I mean, they mentioned the Birdcage Idol briefly, but they were talking about other things. It was pretty good. Mm-hmm. They did say that Bruce is going to come back at some point if they have a second chance season or something like that. Yeah, they're going to bring Bruce back. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see him again. I was sad. Tribal Council though, why the shot in the dark? Why is everybody playing the shot in the dark? Yeah, well, Matthew. Yeah. Okay, because he's injured or whatever. But no.
Jamie makes history, and it's so anticlimactic and doesn't matter at all because she never needed immunity in the first place.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that whole thing was so insane.
And then she basically wasted it because she can't use it in the future.
Exactly. Yeah. She wasted it. Yeah.
Correct.
So once again, doesn't work.
Yeah.
Predictions for next time.
I think Carolyn might find the key to their birdcage, and that's why she's making the dinosaur noises.
Dinosaur noises, yeah. And Matt needs to be a better liar.
Yeah, he does. But he can't lie to Franny. his new
No.
girlfriend.
No, showmances, no. Matt, please.
We'll see what happens.
Yes, can't
Thanks,
wait.
everyone. Can't wait to hear what everyone thinks.
Yep.
Thanks, Jade-n-Christine.
Well, showmances are the quickest way to get voted off and separated.
Hun, you're forgetting Rob and Amber. Look at that success story.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure they could pull something like that off. I'm sure they're thinking that's their plan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, next up, we got a call from Jill.
Yay.
Hi, Joe and Stacey. It's Jill from the Outback here. Apologise for the last series. I didn't get to do any feedback at all. By the time I
Missed
got
you.
into the season, it was sort of halfway through, and I don't know, I just never got around to it. But I listened every week, and it's really good to hear everyone's voices again for this series or season. I am travelling today, so I've just pulled over and I've been listening to the feedback Jabik show, and I've just listened to your week 1 review as well. And Carolyn is nuts. She's going to be really entertaining to watch, but I kind of feel sorry for everyone stuck out there with her. I like the inheritance challenge. I think that's really interesting how that one's going to work. I think, Stacey, you said it about how visual is it going to be when they get the idols and advantages and stuff. Because it could be interesting if you've got an idol and you play your idol, could you also play the advantage and get your idol straight back? There's
That's
lots
where I
of
got the idea.
variants
It
that
was
could
Jill.
happen with that one. The whole episode and like especially the tribal council was a bit of a dog's breakfast. Medical incidents all over the place and some pretty funny decisions that they made at tribal council with playing the shot in the dark. That was funny to play at week 1. I really can't talk much about the people on the season. I haven't really matched up all the names and faces yet, but I just wanted to get some feedback in, start the season off right. Thanks so much, Joe and Stacey, for everything you do. And a quick shout out to Parker. As an Australian, it's never not funny when somebody says that somebody else is rootable. It makes us laugh every time. Happy days, everybody. Bye.
Oh, great to have you back, Jill.
Sorry,
I stole your thunder too with that play the idol, get it back. I had completely forgotten you had said that.
Yep, man, I never heard
Sorry,
it.
I interrupted you. You actually.
Actually, I edit anything written, and I always change it.
Jody told us that years ago.
Instead of I just do, because I can't unhear that. I can't not know that now that I know that.
Yeah.
So look it up, Parker. What it means to the Australians.
Yeah,
You can Google it.
I even toyed with the idea of changing the audios, like to maybe have
If it's audio, no, you can't. That would be too weird.
where you'd have me saying cheer or you saying cheer. I could have those clips and I could just plug them
Besides,
in.
it's okay if Jill gets a good laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway,
good stuff.
I do change it just because now it's like, oh, I can't even say it now.
Thanks, Jill. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. So they begin this season with some weird blooper episode with Carolyn. That is not a good sign. And the way that they portrayed her awkward communication during this whole episode was just really kind of weird to me. They portrayed everybody else in somewhat of a good light, but Carolyn, not so much. Based on the opening confessionals, I like Harry Potter. I'm going to be rooting for him. I know his name is Carson, but I think I might just keep calling him Harry Potter. I'll try to call him Carson, but no promises. My first thoughts on Jamie are that I love her. She seems confident, but we will come back to that. I thought that Jam Jam was annoying. Talking about pooping in the ocean. Ugh, smack my head. I hate talking about that stuff, so yuck. And as far as opening confessionals go, I really loved the OMG montage that they had with everybody screaming and oh my god and all that stuff. I thought that was super fun to watch and it made me laugh. Hey, and if it makes me laugh and it's entertaining, I'm good with it. Good job, Survivor. So let's talk about Bruce busting his head open at the opening gate. My thought when I saw him going was, this is a marathon, not a sprint, so you need to be a little bit more cautious. He's diving under obstacles and being so reckless, and then, during the challenge, he says he's okay, but he looks terrible. Head wounds bleed really badly, and I know that, but I think he just looked like he hyperventilated. And I feel bad for Bruce. He was so enthusiastic, but he was reckless. I know how it feels to be in your mid-40s and thinking that you can do things like you were in your teens or 20s and finding out the hard way that you're not that age anymore. And it's really frustrating. But, I hear they're going to invite him back, or that they have invited him back. So good for him. I'm looking forward to seeing Bruce actually play the game. So because I knew so little about the players before they went out there were several boss moves at the beginning of this season that I just have to recognize. Jam Jam starting the fire, he's a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter gaining 30 pounds to come out to Survivor, he is a boss. Heidi making fire, she is a boss. Yep. Matthew helping the Orange team set up camp is a boss. That, and he's such a nice guy, but why was he so stupid right off the bat? Kind of like with Bruce. At the point where he fell off the rock, I just thought, what is wrong with these people? My jabbing regarding Jamie was so wrong. She is an emotional wreck. I think my initial read on the players has been so wrong in the last few years. I think I need to recognize that whatever my first impressions are, I need to do the opposite when it comes to predicting a winner. Finally, I wanted to comment on the birdcage thing. What I would have done if I had found the key would, first of all, not be let it know that I found the key, but secondly, I would attempt to go back to the cage when no one was looking, take the idol out, lock the cage back up again, and then be super surprised like everyone else would be that the bag just disappeared. I think the paranoia that a locked and empty cage would cause would be so entertaining. Finally, I don't like these weird advantages. There are so many hoops you need to jump through to get them to work just right for you. I don't think either of them are worth it, really. And as I said that, I realized that Lauren is making her advantage work, but the other advantage is just the knowledge is power advantage with different steps. And we all know how the knowledge of power is, and it's a dud. That's it for me. Can't wait for the feedback show. Till next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen. It's actually more powerful, potentially, than knowledge is power.
Well, and I think it would be even better if you didn't remove the bag. Just take the idol out,
right.
Put the bag back in. You got the key. Nobody's getting in there.
Well, and you leave the fake one.
Oh, yeah.
That's the real play, I think, that they were hoping for.
Yeah, but they can't get in unless you do that. So I wouldn't leave the fake one. I would
leave the fake one and rehide the key.
Well, they could rehide it if
then
they
somebody
wanted
finds
to fake
it,
somebody
convinced that they have an idol, which is a fake.
Mm-hmm. Well, all of that is good, and I'm extremely impressed with Jen that she can remember her mid-40s.
Well,
Must be nice.
Maybe she's not that far away, hon.
Probably not.
Yeah. Good deal. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and who'd have thunk that this would start off with such a bang? By the time it ended, I wasn't sure if I was watching Survivor or an episode of ER. I've got to say, I wish we didn't know about the medical team being called in, because we knew instantly that the first challenge was going to be paused, at the very least. And from the previews, there was almost a certainty that it was Bruce that needed help, so yeah, I steered clear of picking him this week. And Matthew, you know what? I was close to picking him as my USB, but that fall from the rock scene stopped me from picking him as well. So yeah, the previews for this season obviously took its cues from Hollywood movie trailers because we just had too many spoilers in it. I'm glad that Matthew's still hanging in the game though, because he was doing so well. I just hope he can recover. But I had a shoulder injury years ago when I simply threw something, and now I throw like a girl because I'm afraid of screwing up my shoulder again. Yeah, I'll use that for the reason. Anyway, you've got to hand it to the drone camera operator who saw Matt head over to the huge mountain of sharp, wet rocks and said to himself, "Ooh, this can't end well, and if I miss it, Jeff will be on me like white on rice." I thought it was oddly revealing, though, when Matt was bleeding in that, human-sized gully of razor-sharp rocks, calling for a medic, only to have his teammates just stand there and look more confused than concerned. I mean, I would have run over to see if I could help, but that's just me, I guess. So, can we talk about Carolyn for a minute? Should we talk about Carolyn? I mean, the woman is Looney Tunes, and I dodged a bullet there thanks to Stacy for providing those video links that I looked at Tuesday night before making my picks. She's just one of those wildly clueless individuals who refuses to dial it back even when it's been politely suggested to them all their lives long. I mean, she's heard it before. When it comes to USBs, never stick your pick on crazy. She went from a possible USB contender to my first off in just under a minute and a half, all because I watched her video clip. But yeah, she's going to be interesting to watch, that's for sure. And Lauren, too, because, and you heard it here first, she's going to blow up her game by playing too hard, too fast, and too furious. Now, I'm a gamer here, so when I saw that giant slide puzzle, I immediately thought that someone on the challenge team has played Immortals Phoenix Rising, because slide puzzles that large appear throughout the game at regular intervals. But they're much easier to solve because, well, it's a video game. And that takes us to Maddie ending up being first off. Instead of saying the tribe has spoken, don't you think Jeff should have said Brandyn has spoken?
Yeah.
Oh, and the tribal council set is really nice, but why did they fill the table you're supposed to use to write on your parchment with that big old chessboard? It's kind of in the way. So next to go, I'm going to say Carolyn. She lucked out big time this week, but the minute she shows up at tribal, she's done for. I can't wait to see what kind of a face she makes when that happens, though. And if Tika does go to tribal and doesn't vote her off, then I honestly feel that they are doomed as a tribe. In short, I loved the episode and can't wait for more. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
I couldn't imagine they wouldn't vote her off if they went.
Who was it? Someone said, what if the reason she's making all those noises was because she found the key, so she ends up with an immunity idol?
Well, we thought we saw her reach for something, and that we thought too, maybe she found something.
Right.
So yeah, that I would think would be bad news for Jam Jam.
Yep. Or
If she
whoever
finds
she
the idol.
chooses to vote for. Yeah. In that scenario.
Though who knows? She could share it with.
I don't think they're going to
anyone.
restock the birdcage.
Yeah, I don't think they would either.
We don't know. We don't have any extra information on that, but I kind of think that's done once you collect the items from it. I hope it's done, actually.
Jeff talked about, or one of the people on Jeff's podcast talked about, they have two
Drone operators. When he was talking about that. Yeah.
Yes, and that's how they got that shot.
Yeah.
They had two drone operators.
When they saw him heading out to the Razor Rock.
That's how they get them from up high.
They launched two
quickly.
drones. Yeah. He even mentioned the names of the guys that were doing it. Yeah.
And
good stuff.
I'm sure they felt exactly that way. Oh, they'll kill us if we don't get there. He's going to try to climb up that straight up rock, wet rock.
That could
with
make it
wet feet.
That can make it a little tricky to sneak around too if they've got drones on you, and because a lot of those you can hear that they're doing better on the propellers for them, but those make those really annoying high pitched whine sounds.
A lot of things that are hidden are not hidden out where they could use the drones, right?
Yeah, well,
because
it depends.
They can't use the drones up in the trees, and when they're going to the water well.
You can fly drones inside your house. They just need to be small and agile.
No, you couldn't fly drones inside my house.
I might not be able to, but other people do, and they do indoor racing and things like that. Those things can be super agile. I don't know what they have. They probably got some DJIs. That's like the professional ones.
I don't think
it's possible,
they would, though,
but probably not likely. But it would. We've often wondered how much do you learn from watching the camera people, right? Because
it does signal if they think something's going on.
A focus. Here's a focus.
They do tend to. We've heard over and over again. You see some people. Like Sandra, when she came back like the third time or fourth time, I don't remember what.
Yeah.
But, she was talking to the camera there right in the beginning. She actually turned to it and said something. And
every once in a while, they'll break the fourth wall, yeah.
Yeah. But most people say after a while, you just forget about it. They're just doing it all the time. And you just, you have to just forget it.
I always thought two things is listen to the producers and how they're asking questions. And we've heard castaways say they learned things from what they were being asked or even what they were being told. So-and-so did this. What did you think in response? Or how did you respond to that? And so they're signaling to you and giving you additional information, likewise with the cameras and where they're looking.
And yet that's during the season when it's happening, but they still don't know how in post-production how the editors are going to edit and what's going to be shown and what isn't. And that's what I think about Carolyn, because I never forgot Leslie Neese telling us, I promise, I swear, I wasn't talking about religion the whole time. They made it look like everything, that's all I ever talked about. She said, it's not true. It's just that they showed everything I did say about it.
Right.
And she said they're filming us 24/7. I swear, I talked about a lot of other things, but that's what they chose to show. So it looked like that's all she talked about.
Yeah, to the power of the edit.
So that does make me wonder when they they targeted Carolyn immediately, and I just couldn't figure out exactly why. What is it? What message are you trying to send? And
that's one of those
what
stay tuned.
What meaning does this have?
Stay tuned, because that hasn't played out yet.
We'll have to wait and see,
For some reason, Dave Armstrong thought he was being super clever with using that in the edit. Okay, thanks to everyone who took the time to share your thoughts and predictions with us today and your analysis. We thoroughly enjoyed it. We appreciate hearing from all of you. We also want to say a special thank you to Tom for your donation, and Erica and Christy and Hazel and Kim for your subscription donations. We greatly appreciate your support. We got monthly bills that we're paying just to keep all that content up there, and this is all a huge help to our operational costs. So thank you so much.
And if you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your picks for week 2. 1 person voted off, and 4 people who are still in the game at the end of the episode, whether they leave, however they leave.
Great start to the season. Good job, everybody. If you want to join us in the next listener feedback show, you can call and leave a voicemail, 206-350-1547, toll free, 844-643-8737. You can record an audio comment and attach it to the email, or just type up a quick text message and send it to us at joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Remember, feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range. Anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. We talked about Bruce's concussion and all the
extra
other
videos.
stuff.
We got links to the interviews in the show notes, and check out the Probst interview too, and because that's where he explains the inheritance advantage and some of the other stuff. Dalton usually hits him with some really good questions, especially in the early season interviews. He tends to disappear and stop answering towards the end of a season. We'll see how he does now that he's got this new podcast and more work to do.
Yeah, for sure. But, I do like extra information, so I just wish they'd go back to, showing us more of, bring Ponderosa back. I still would like to hear what people have to say when they vote. I really miss that. I used to just love that.
We messed that up for everyone because we would analyze all that.
What do you mean?
And the editors thought, oh, no, we need to stop sharing that. Because we would pay attention to what they said when they voted, and we would say, well, what is that really telling us? And then a lot of people were doing that. And then
they didn't want us
out,
to get that much information.
It takes away flexibility that they have in crafting the edit for a story that they want to tell that may fly in the face of that. And so...
Don't care. Still miss it.
Yeah. Definitely miss that. Miss when they were committed and had the funds to share all the extra videos. Sometimes we get 20, 30, almost the equivalent of another episode's worth of extra videos. There's lots of other content, lots of other stories going on.
Yeah, weekly videos instead of just like 1 or 2 little bitty things.
Okay, well, that's the past.
15.
This is Prop's new budget survivor. We got to make do.
And even how people interact and how they process their loss at Ponderosa, that was always extremely interesting.
But like Robert said, a lot of this is what we make of it, and we have a good time at Survivor Fans Podcast. And we still enjoy the show, even though it's different from what it used to be. And the listener feedback is such a huge, important piece of that, where we get to share what all the super fans are thinking about.
And look at it through someone else's eyes. That's awesome. Okay, we're looking forward to the next episode, and we'll see you back here then with our next recap.
Have a good one.